What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. It's been a minute, huh, guys? Well, it's just been a week, but didn't have any figures coming in. But welcome back to another video review. Today we are going to be doing a review on the Monsterarts 1972 Gigan. I believe this is 50th anniversary. There's something will pop up on screen that will dictate whether I'm correct or not. Well, if I'm wrong, definitely something will pop up on screen. But yeah, really, really excited to finally get figures from this movie in the 70s because this is one of my favorite Godzilla movies just due to the comedic value of this movie. It's completely ridiculous in like every sense of the manner, but I love it for that reason, especially because it is the 70s. And even at the time, this was revolutionary, when it comes to Godzilla, the people in the suits and stuff like that. The whole thing was revolutionary at the time. We obviously look back on it maybe differently now, but still, I absolutely love the movie. For those of you who don't know which movie this is the movie I believe where Gigan and Megalon fight against Jet Jaguar and Godzilla does his infamous drop kick with his freaking tail. You guys can look up that as a GIF. You can look that up on YouTube. It's freaking hilarious, and I love it. But it's really nice to finally get figures from this movie because I hope that they'll make an actual Jet Jaguar, because I don't think SH Monsterarts has made a Jet Jaguar besides the singular point one, so I'd like a classic Jet Jaguar from the 70s, so it'd be really cool to see that. But taking a quick look at the box here, very nice artwork of Gigan here, and you can see it's sort of reflective as well. Very, very cool there. Gigan 1972, SH Monsterarts, got the 2023, again, this logo here for the 50th anniversary, Tamashii, Bandai, just looks cool all around. You can see on the top of the box we have a Gigan SH Monsterarts 1972. On the side, just more text here. On the side, a little bit of artwork of the actual figure, plus the actual name of Mr. Gigan himself. And finally, on the back, we do have our obligatory product shots. So really cool stuff. Can't wait to bring this to you guys. Yeah, and so without further ado, I think that's about it for the box. Always very nice boxes from Bandai and from the Monsterarts line. So let's get the figure out here and see how he is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the 1972 Gigan out of its box, and I gotta say, this guy looks really freaking awesome. If you watch my recent figure arts reviews, the one thing I was complaining about was shading, and they definitely did a good amount of shading here through this guy. I mean, this guy looks fantastic. I do think that the green is a bit dark. I would have liked it to maybe just be a tad bit lighter because I think it's a little more accurate, but that's obviously up to opinion. But for the most part, I mean, this guy is, screen accurate Gigan to its fullest, and I apologize for that. I was messing around with this guy a bit earlier, messing around with the knee joints and testing them out. So give me one sec here. There we go, guys. Sorry about that. But taking a look at this guy, I mean, he looks fantastic. This is pretty much as accurate as you're going to get of a 1972 Gigan in a figure ever. Like, that's well articulated and has very nice detail. Overall, again, I'm really happy with how this guy looks. I mean, he looks brilliant, like there's nothing more to say. So taking a look at the details, taking a look at them up close here. So taking a look at the head, this beautiful head, and you can see, I'll show you where the shading is. You can see a ton of the shading, or some of it here, on the horns as well. Well, just the spikes in general. You can see it on the beak as well. If I kind of, you can see it a little bit on the beak as well. This very nice shading all around. You got the nice texture for like his reptile, scaly golden skin here, and then more nice textured detail for here on like the arms and stuff, and you can see it here as well on the neck. Very, very nice. Going down here to the saw blade in the center of the whole body. Very nice. You can see again that green shading on the spikes is always very, very nice to see. You can see more down here with the legs and the detail in there. Very, very nice. More of the very nice detail on the gold parts as well on the bottom. Looking at the hands here, you can also see the shading. You can see it really prominently, like right here. You can see that pretty prominent shading. Very, very cool. I'm glad that they went out of their way to do that. Then going to the feet, you can also see it's carried down here to the feet as well. And then turning to the back here, I do like how it's two different colors of plastic essentially, that they have this, lighter sort of more beige, and then it gets, more to this darker brown color for his like fins on his back, and you can see they're very nice. These are sharp as well. These are not, these actually hurt. And then you can see a little bit of extra detail, a little painted detail there. Tail, again, very nice. All that, shaded detail carries into the tail here with all of these the spikes as well, and then the spike at the end of his tail is also very, very nice. Overall, looking at the details on this guy, I mean, it's pretty damn fantastic. Like, there's nothing more, nothing less I have to say when it comes to the detail. Sure, you could argue that there could be more detail going into the gold here, but for the most part, I mean, I gotta say, it's still really, really nice, and I think it looks fantastic, and I'm glad that we got some shading in the figure finally, because it's been a while since I've held a figure with significant shading. So very, very nice with Gigan here. And so, guys, one of the things we're going to do now is get to comparison. So what we're going to do, well, one comparison mainly, and the reason being is because, again, I'm still in the process of moving my entire freaking collection of all of my figures, and there's been a lot of stuff like I've been trying to buy shelves at Walmart, haven't been successful at doing so. Well, I got one, I need another one, and then I can finally reorganize. But so I apologize to the fact that we can't get a ton of comparisons, so we're only going to do one. And I was able to actually pull this guy out, and obviously the one comparison I think that everybody would like to see. So, setting Gigan there off to the side. Here is Gigan with his Final Wars counterpart, and you can see there's a significant difference between these two. They're the same height. They're basically the same height, but you can tell the major differences between the two of them. I mean, this guy has this navy blue, scaly, very, it's more lanky color. Like, he's more lanky. You can definitely see it here. If you face them forward, you can definitely see this guy's a bit more chubby, right here in the center, but here you can see he's more lean here. The saw is a little more prominent here. Like, you can see the blade, where the spikes are attached on the blade there. Here it's just sort of the blade is assumed to be inside. I kind of like how this looks a bit better than this. You can obviously see the difference in the sizes of the arm blades, or the hands, I guess. You can definitely see how big these are in comparison to how big these are. You can see also the big differences with the spines here. To my knowledge, these guys don't really share any parts, maybe besides the head is very similar, but other than that, these guys really don't share anything with each other. You can see here, you can also see the differences in the tails. We just have the 4-pronged spike here, or the 5-pronged spike here. We have a ton more spikes, and you can see the difference in the shape of the spikes also, and you can see the difference in the amount of spikes that are on the Final Wars Gigan versus the one that we have here. Now, I only have these ones on. I do have these saw blades, but I prefer these a lot more personally. I just like how these look better. This is what I remember mostly with Final Wars Gigan. So yeah, overall, I mean, these guys look great together, and I will be technically displaying them together. So overall, I do think that they're completely separate from one another, and I don't think that picking this guy up and this guy will leave you like, oh man, I got two figures of the same character. They're very, very significantly different. Like, this isn't just a simple retool or repaint of this. This is like from the ground up. To my knowledge, looking at both of these and having them both in hand, this is a completely new figure compared to this. So I wouldn't feel sad for picking up both of these figures, each of them as a whole. So I love both of these figures. I think they're really, really good. And sadly, that's the only comparison we're going to do. And speaking of accessories, this is where I'm kind of sad. He's got nothing. Now, granted, in the movie, he doesn't really do anything in terms of accessories that would warrant him to get accessories, but just so you know, this guy came with like an eye laser accessory. And I would have liked that for this guy. It would have been nice to get another one, or maybe a similar one. Maybe a slight change in color wouldn't have been bad. But yeah, that's where I have to knock this figure. There's nothing that this guy comes with, and it's a bit of a shame because it's like, you're paying, whatever amount of money for this guy. I believe I'll put the price on screen. I'll look that up after I record the video and while I'm editing it. But you're paying that much money for this guy, and it's a shame that he doesn't come with anything. So it does feel like the Godzilla releases where he doesn't come with anything either. I don't know. I'm just a bit disappointed that he doesn't come with anything. Um, I feel that that does knock off a bit, and I think that that's where Monsterarts kind of falters, is especially with the Godzilla stuff. They kind of lack in the accessories department. And for a good chunk of their figures, at least significantly cool accessories, right? Not like just a change of hands or change of feet, but like obviously with like Final Wars Gigan here, this guy has a lot of accessories when it comes to his hands because that's his more prominent weapon. But it's just a shame that this guy doesn't come with anything else. That's all I gotta say. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Again, it's indicative of the movie because he didn't really do much besides, maybe shooting off his eyelid. I can't remember if he did, but yeah. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. But speaking of, let's get into articulation after talking about the lack of accessories here. So taking into articulation, he's actually pretty well articulated. The only issue I'll have is I'll mention here in the feet. So first off, you do have a ball joint at the head. You have I believe you have a ball joint here, here, and here. But primarily the one you're going to be talking about is the one up here at the neck, the main base, the higher. So you can get about that much down. You can get pretty high up as well. Really, really nice, actually. You can technically do a full 360, although I don't like doing that for like the monster figures because it doesn't feel the best thing. Other thing, going up to the head, these are also articulated as these sort of mandibles, I guess you would call them. I'm not sure what these would be technically called. I believe that they're similar to like an ant's teeth, I guess. I don't know what they're called. You'll see something on screen. And then the mouth can open and close. And then you do have, I forgot to mention, you do have some nice teeth in there, which is really, really nice. Arms can do a full 360 because you do have a ball joint here at the shoulder. No butterfly joint. Doesn't make any sense to have it on a monster figure. You do get a ball joint here at the elbow, so meaning you can get all of the juicy motions here with the claws as well. And nothing here, this can't like rotate or anything. You do get a bit of forward, a tiny bit of back, and then you do get a pretty significant knee joint, which is actually pretty cool for a monster figure to have that. And then you do have a bit of ankle rocker because there's a ball joint here. Now this is where I have a little bit of an issue, is that unless you have the tail here supporting him, he likes to tip over. I'll show you what I mean. So if I do see, you can see like, yeah, he just tips over. So you definitely need the tail to support his weight. His feet don't do jack to actually, help him stand up. It just helps him as like a tiny support, really. Other than that, this guy really needs his tail to articulate. These also move around. These are on ball joints, I believe, right here, and I believe at the tops of all these, they're on ball joints, which is really, really nice. You can flare them out pretty significantly like this. You can have them like that. You can have them a bit closer. I like to have them a bit more flared out. It gives them more of a presence to them like he usually does. And finally for the tail, Monsterarts tails are always, in my opinion, fantastic for the most part. I've had maybe a few here and there that aren't great, but for the most part, Monsterarts tails are really good. So you do get like the full, like, whoops. He's going to tip over there. But you do get all of these. These are all ball joints, so you do get some crazy tail movement. So you can get something like this where he's like curling up his tail. You can get all the way up here like this. It's really cool. And that came off. Apologize for that. But yeah, you can see. Very easy to clip back on. But yeah, you can get some really, really neat stuff with this guy. And I'm happy that the articulation is as robust as it is for this guy. Because, it's very, very cool to see that. So, pretty quick review, but what do I ultimately think of this guy? I think he's great. I think he's a really awesome figure. I think he's very well done in terms of the shading, the details, the paint is all very well done. Articulation's also very nice. The only issue I have with the articulation are the little ankles that he's got. I think that the feet don't do jack to really support him at all, besides maybe giving him a teeny bit of support. You really need that tail to actually get him to stand up. Other than that, though, the only other big qualm I have is he doesn't come with anything. And when you're paying a rather significant amount of money, more than, an average video game release. Video games generally cost, $60, and then you get the other editions, 80, $90. When you're paying a little bit around there, a bit more, it kind of feels a bit sad to not get anything with this guy. I get in the movie, from what I remember, he doesn't really do all that much in terms of like crazy cool things, but Gigan has always had his eye laser, I believe, and so with that, I believe that it could have included an eye laser effect part. Uh, yeah, I would have been willing to pay a little more for that, because guess what? We don't get really any effect parts with the Godzilla Monsterarts stuff, and so it would have been nice to actually get another one that you can, use for multi-purpose or just use for Gigan. It would have been nice to have it. Other than that, though, I do think that the figure as a whole is still very, very well done, and so taking everything into consideration, I'd probably give this guy between a 7 and an 8, probably leaning more towards the middle of the road, 7.5, because really good, just a little bit of issues, and the fact that there's no accessories with this guy really kind of makes me sad. But if you guys want to pick yours up, I picked mine up at the Big Bad Toy Store. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. I will also check if Amazon has it as well. Other than that, guys, yeah, I still think that this is a great figure. I do recommend you go pick it up. Just be wary of the lack of accessories and stuff like that. But for a representation of the 1972 Gigan, this guy nails it. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me on the socials linked in the description below. Next review should be Orange Piccolo as the next figure I have coming in. I just got an email like a few minutes ago that said that my Orange Piccolo payment was processed, is being shipped. So yeah, look forward to that. And with that, guys, I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace out.